Welcome back. Let's put the spotlight on one of the states that is headed for elections, the state of Punjab. And in the run-up to that, the entire crisis and dissent within the Congress party in Punjab. Today, the Punjab Chief Minister, Captain Amarinder Singh, finally had a meeting with Sonia Gandhi at her residence. Remember that he was in the national capital a few weeks ago as well, in the month of June, but didn't really get an audience with the top leadership, with Sonia Gandhi. Last week, before he could meet anybody, Sidhu, who's been his main rival and challenger and really the one creating problems for the party and Captain Amarinder in Punjab, did manage to meet Priyanka Gandhi and then Rahul Gandhi. And since then, Sidhu seems to have only escalated his attack on Captain Amarinder, whether it's over inaction in the desecration of the Guru Granth Sahib case, whether it's about the firing cases in Kotkapura and or Faridkot, whether it's the whole power electricity issue that has now seemed to have become a pole plank from the Aam Aadmi Party's end and now the Congress Party's end as well. And he's been accusing the Captain Amarinder government of buying power at high cost, leading to high tariffs and a larger supply crisis that exists in the state. So he's only sharpened his knives and is now going all out in terms of directly saying and specific things and criticizing the Amarinder government. On a day, that too, when Captain Amarinder was himself in the national capital meeting Sonia Gandhi. Now, he says that I've met her. I am going to abide by whatever it is that Sonia Gandhi decides on a political basis. We did discuss the state. We discussed development in the state, but we also discussed the politics of the state. Multiple attempts have been made by the Congress party in the recent past, or at least they have said that, we are going to create a panel. The panel is going to look into the issues. Both need to come up with a compromise formula. So they haven't very clearly shut one side down. But to ask a sitting chief minister who's repeatedly delivered on elections and on the state for you, to ask him to make these adjustments is a sign enough of how the Congress leadership and specifically the Gandhi family sees this. What makes it even more interesting is perhaps a difference of opinion within the Gandhi family, within Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka and Rahul on how they see this scenario and which is the person that they really need to back. Can Sonia Gandhi broker peace and can the party get its house in order before election season, full-fledged election season hits the state of Punjab? We say good evening to CHARAN Singh, SAPRA spokesperson for the Congress party, HARJOT Singh BAINS, spokesperson for the Aam Aadmi Party, Navinder Singh Grewal, Senior Vice President and spokesperson for Shiromani Akali Dal, and HEMANT, Senior Journalist, also joining me right now. Mr. Atri, let me start off with you, to begin with the insights on what's happening within the Punjab Congress and really how the Gandhi family seems to be dealing with it.
See, Tanvi, this all is a self-inflicted problem. Congress in Punjab, Congress in Delhi, they have all worked together to inflict upon themselves this problem. Otherwise, you tell me one thing, I'll just like to take you back for a while. Navjot Singh Sidhu joined BJP in 2014, to be precise. What he did, he became MP. He started doing the same thing about Badals within 1 year. What happened? He joined in Congress in 2017. He was made a minister for urban and local bodies minister. After 1.5 years, Captain gave him the Department of Power. Power is not a small department. Today, whatever he is shouting for last 4 or 5 days, since he met Congress president, Congress leadership and whatever, what he is doing? He is playing the same cards which Mr. Kejriwal has played recently. 300 units of power free of cost to all families. Do you know what it means? What it costs to the state exchequer? It is basically, a trend of Mr. Sidhu. In every election, 2014 he joins BJP, 2017 he leaves BJP and joins Congress. Now the elections are coming. He is taking the power department. He was allotted the power department. He could have done all the reforms which he is shouting about today. He could have changed all those long-term power purchase agreements, which he is complaining today. Why he didn't do it? Simple thing is to make an issue out of non-issue, to play in the hands of certain powers who want to destabilize. And he seems to be a man in a hurry. He is overambitious.
Right.
For becoming a chief minister, you have to serve an organization for quite some time. Within 5 years, can you ask for chief ministership? Within 5 years, can you ask for Congress presidentship? Can you ask for home department? What does it mean? It simply means you are a man in a hurry. And while doing it, and a few powers that be in Congress High Command, they are helping him for their own reasons. For the very simple reason that Captain Amarinder only speaks to top three. Rest, all others are annoyed with him. That is the whole saga. And I think whatever Captain has said today, after coming out from that meeting for one and a half hour, I'm pretty sure that Captain will have his way. And Sidhu cannot get more than the chief of a Congress campaign committee for this election. As far as Congress is concerned, he might get anything from anywhere. As far as Congress is concerned, Captain seemed to be quite relaxed. And that's what I can gather from it. Yeah.
So, keeping in mind what you've said, let me take it across to Charan Singh Sapra and ask Mr. Sapra, what is it that Navjot Singh Sidhu brings on the table to such an extent that you're actually pushing this issue to this point, where a multiple time chief minister for you, who's delivered on the stage so many times, is having to run back and forth between Punjab and Delhi, explaining himself to a committee, explaining himself to the party president, looking at various kind of compromise formulas, which Navjot Singh Sidhu any which ways keeps rejecting?
See, Tanvi, Congress party has an internal democracy still alive in the party. And that's why the three-member panel was made, and all the three senior leaders were there, Mr. HARJOT, J.P. Agarwal, and Harish Rawat, they were there. Every panel member has listened to around 200 leaders from Punjab. And even Shri Rahul Gandhi has met more than 50 or 60 senior leaders from Punjab. They have taken a total assessment of the internal matters as well as the political situation, the political issues of Punjab. And accordingly, they might have reached to a conclusion. And Captain Amarinder Singh, today as a loyal party lieutenant, he has said that I have met Congress President, I have discussed on internal matters of Congress party, on the political matters, and I'm waiting for her decision. I will abide by whatever decision Honorable Congress President takes. Now, this shows that there is an internal party democracy. Every MLA or every Congress leader has a chance to express his feeling to the High Command, either through the panel member or directly to the High Command. So I don't think so there should be any problem with this, because this shows that there is an internal party democracy in Congress.
Democracy, as Congress likes to call it, could also be a great opportunity for the other side. Harjot Singh BAINS, as the Congress top leadership in state keeps fighting, it's a great opportunity for the rivals to win this election.
Yes, Tanvi, definitely it is. But my point is that from last 2 months, it is a sad story for the people of Punjab, who gave this Congress a surviving hope. When the Congress was defeated in whole India, Punjab gave it an opportunity, and 4.5 years have been passed, and Congress in last 2 months have been fighting or doing this drama, and every other day the chief minister is in Delhi or the other cabinet ministers are in Delhi, while the people of Punjab suffer. Our students have to suffer for the scholarship. Our youth is protesting for employment. Our farmers are sitting on dharnas. The farmers are not getting power when there is this paddy season, the peak of paddy season. There is no power. The power crisis is at the peak in this time, and the chief minister is busy visiting Delhi. There are contract laborers sitting on streets of Punjab. There are transporters sitting on street of Punjab. Even doctors in this peak time of COVID, doctors are on strike. Whole Punjab is on streets demanding their rights. And the sad part is the people who They chose, they gave an opportunity. They are fighting, they are visiting in Delhi while the people of Punjab suffer. And the high command of the Congress has itself admitted that Captain Amarinder Singh and this government has failed in fulfilling the promises which they did to the people of Punjab. And now with 6 months left, I don't think either Sidhu or Captain it can do, because they have failed the people of Punjab. And Aam Aadmi Party on the other side, we have been with the people of Punjab, doing our job as an opposition. Might be the scholarship thing or the power crisis. We have to Ghirao his farmhouse. He doesn't even reside in an official residence. He doesn't get out, so he only goes to visit Sonia Gandhi or to the farmhouse. Nothing else. And we are doing its job. And I think people of Punjab, today there is tremendous wave in Punjab for Aam Aadmi Party, and it is more because of the Congress has disappointed the people of Punjab, and the same way the Congress has disappointed India, even in today's whole nation. Look at the prices of the petrol and diesel. Where is Congress as a main opposition in the center? They are doing this in Rajasthan, in Haryana, everywhere. And I think that Congress is a lost game, and we are also fighting in Gujarat, in Uttarakhand.
Okay. So let me bring in Charan Singh SAPRA before I go to Mr. Grewal. Mr. SAPRA, you wanted to respond?
Yeah. See, the spokesperson of Aam Aadmi Party, he has jumped on various issues, I feel. And if Aam Aadmi Party is so reliable for the people of Punjab, then why did they only win 20 seats in last 2017 elections? Why they were wiped out in the municipal corporation elections?
Why gave you an opportunity?
Local panchayat elections. This is the fact. People of Punjab, they have seen how the Congress government is working. Arvind Kejriwal is just providing a service by just declaring that 300 units of free power will be given. You cannot fool the people of Punjab.
But isn't it better, Mr. SAPRA? Isn't it better that they may make promises of when they come in and what they will do? I'm not saying how much merit is there in this promise, but isn't that something more interesting than two people from your own party fighting about the power policy? After 4.5 years have gone by, you have Navjot Singh Sidhu waking up now and creating this issue now. So let's not talk about the app. Let's talk about what your own guys are saying about what you haven't done.
Tanvi,
even their high command.
1 minute. Yes, Charan Singh SAPRA, please.
Let me talk about let me expose Aam Aadmi Party first. I'll give you the difference of rates of electricity in Delhi and Punjab quick in 10 seconds. For the industrial electricity rates, in Delhi it is 10 rupees 69 paise, whereas Punjab is 6.1 rupees. Commercial electricity in Delhi is 12.38. In Punjab, it is 8.23. Agriculture, it is 5.02 in Delhi, whereas Punjab, it is 0. There's no charge for the agriculture electricity.
Correct.
Domestic, it is 5.11 in Delhi, whereas in Punjab, it is 4.66. The subsidy comparison I'm giving you, the subsidy comparison is that in Delhi, it is 1700 crore subsidy the Delhi government is giving, whereas the Punjab government is giving 10,668 crore subsidy. If you take it in unit, in Delhi, it is 0.54 unit per unit, whereas in Punjab, it is rupees 2.6.
Okay, no, fair enough, Mr. SAPRA. Now, if this was only a electricity tariff and supply debate, we would have gone into these details, which we did do, and Mr. Ratri was on that panel. Just 1 minute, please. Are you saying that what Navjot Singh Sidhu is raising as an issue is a non-issue then?
Sorry?
Are you saying that what Navjot Singh Sidhu is raising as an issue is a non-issue? It's your own party leader who is actually saying that we are buying electricity at a higher cost, and which is why it's an entire mess right now. Supply is a mess, tariff is a mess. We are not saying that. Aam Aadmi Party is not saying that. Your own party leader is saying that.
Even the chief minister gave the statement. Even their chief minister gave the statement on it.
My turn. See, number one, Mr. HEMANT ATRI has given you exact details of the electricity issue. I would like to add on to that. These electricity arrangements, the PPA arrangements were made by the Akali Dal and the BJP government, and they have given a written affidavit in the court protecting those deals. Now, as a government, they have given the affidavit, which the following government, it becomes difficult for the following government to negate everything. Number one. Number two, the current power crisis in Punjab is due to failure of 2 or 3 major thermal projects. The government is working on that. There is a maintenance work going on that. Number 3, Captain Amarinder Singh has released 500 crores to buy additional power from national grid. That will get solved in
Okay, okay. Let me bring in Mr. Grewal as well. And Mr. Grewal, I want to go to a
Tanvi, I would
larger
like to
picture.
add.
No, can I please go to a larger picture here? This debate, we've had multiple debates about the electricity part. That's not what it is. But Mr. Grewal, your party knows, Sidhu well as well. I've tracked him all this while. Uh, does he carry so much weight that the Gandhis should be giving him so much importance days ahead and dragging this issue out the way it is being dragged out over the last many weeks?
Tanvi, the picture is very clear. It's very unfortunate that it's a Congress is fighting with each other for their power and for their seats and becoming a chief minister, deputy CM, or the Congress president. But the state is burning. It's this all nuisance started even when there was Corona was at its peak. People were dying every day. Now the state is reeling under dark. There is no power, and they are fighting for themselves. I'm sorry to say that even on your debate, the Congress and Aam Aadmi Party is also fighting a political battle, but not for the people of the state. One is trying to up others. I was astonished to hear Mr. SAPRA that it's an internal democracy in the Congress. That's why they are fighting. Mr. SAPRA, this is not congressmen fighting Congress. It's a Congress fighting its own government. What the people from the opposition are blaming the Congress, your own man is blaming that. I must say that this dispute in Congress is also created by Congress High Command, because two members of the Gandhi family directly and indirectly support Mr. Navjot Singh Sidhu, whereas the top lady has a soft corner for Captain Amarinder Singh. They let down Captain Amarinder Singh when he last visited. They obliged Navjot Singh Sidhu. So, but they are not feeling the importance of this situation that Punjab is a border state and they are allowing it to be destroyed by their internal fights, and that so openly. See, Punjab industry is closed for another 3 days. This the notification they have issued, it's closed till 10th of July. There is a shortage of power for the agriculture. There is a power cut for residential power. And there is a power cut for the business also. Punjab is losing every shine which it had. It took its credit. Agriculture is on destruction. The business is about to finish. The industry is going to be closed. The employees are on the roads. But I'm sorry to say that the Congress High Command is taking it so layerly that in 3 months they couldn't even talk to both the gentlemen and sort it out. If Sidhu is creating problem, he should have been thrown out. If Captain is not delivering, they should have changed him. But what is this nonsense going on that they put the state at mercy of these two people?
Okay.
One thing, Tanvi, I want to make it clear. This politics is going to make Punjab pay a very high price. Sidhu has a very close connections with Imran Khan and General Bajwa. Punjab is a border state, and everybody internationally watching what is happening in Punjab. So my submission is that Congress should forget it, that it's not their personal property. The people of Punjab has given them chance in 2017. They should have availed it. Today they are blaming Akalis for this power shortage. We made it surplus. Gentlemen, who closed the thermal plants? The present government, not the Akalis. And if you say that Akalis made some wrong agreements, you had a 4.5 years with you to revoke those. You didn't work on that. See, I tell you that the layerly with which they are handling Punjab situation is growing to be a very heavy price the Punjab will pay. Havoc will be created. For God's sake, neither this Aam Aadmi Party should pay cheap politics. That I heard their representatives that we ground the CM. How it concerns with the power shortage, how it solves the issue of Captain and Sidhu. We did this, we that, we won this thing. These are not the issues at the moment. The issue is that Punjab is facing not one but many problems. But the Congress government is not functional.
Okay. So there are many problems. I think one would just in general agree that also in times of a pandemic, it's not a great messaging when you see that your key leaders are so busy right now figuring out which one of them is going to be the big face and who else will have what spot. In times of a pandemic, that's just not the right message. In times of a power crisis, it's not the right message. In times when there is a massive farmers movement, it's not the right message. But is it, Mr. HEMANT Attri, before I go to Charan Singh SAPRA, Mr. Attri, is it also that perhaps the Congress party is also in a way looking to pass the blame on one side and mitigate the damage by propping up Sidhu there and saying, no, we understand power is an issue and here is our guy saying it as well?
See, Tanvi, there are two aspects to this debate, what we are doing. One part is administrative, that is power. Two, power, scarcity of power, precisely. And the second part is all about politics.
Yeah.
As far as power is concerned, power is in mess. Power supply is in mess, not only in Punjab. It's in Haryana also. It's everywhere. For the very simple reason, monsoon is a bit delayed. One, temperatures are rising. And power distribution system is cracking. For that matter, I stay in Rohtak. I have never seen such a bad supply in last 48 years. But Haryana is not discussed since there are no elections. Now, what Mr. Sidhu is doing is, as I asked you initially, he was given power portfolio. If this was the issue, which was so close to his heart, why didn't he started working on that? Why he refused? My simple question. Second part, as you rightly pointed out, as far as politics is concerned, there may be n numbers of problems with the administration of Captain Amarinder Singh. But once you start matching Captain Amarinder and Navjot Sidhu, there is no match. In High Command's view, there are three people. I would not like to name, you know, all of them, you know. Simple issue is, there are two types of people, there are two types of leaders. One is a crowd puller. The other one is a vote puller. Captain has proved beyond any reasonable doubt that he is a vote puller. As far as Navjot Sidhu is concerned, as I initially pointed out, 2014 he was in BJP, 2017 he was in Congress. And 2022, by the time election comes, we don't know where he will be. But while doing all this, whatever he is doing, instead of doing all this, they should have simply put their house in order.
Yeah.
But what are the weak points of Captain Amarinder Singh? He doesn't meet many people. He should start meeting. That is one point. He should not rely upon bureaucracy. He should start relying upon politicians. To that extent, I agree. But what Mr. Sidhu, what Mr. Bajwa, what many other people, what they are doing, they are sabotaging the Congress perspective in this election, which is going to be early 2022, for the very simple reason that they are the people in a hurry. Issue is not that. Issue is very, very simple. If the High Command takes all the issue in a holistic manner, who is at fault? If somebody has to challenge his own party, as a Congress spokesperson rightly pointed out, that there is an internal democracy, be it. But why they are washing their dirty linen in open space? What Punjab is facing nowadays is, there is a farmer agitation going on, you all know. SAD and BJP have parted ways, you all know. What was earlier the history of Punjab in politics? BJP used to get urban votes, SAD used to get rural votes. They are separate now. Last time around, Aam Aadmi Party got 20 seats once they were at their best. This time, before the election, they won 20 seats. As of now, they are 14. So whatever Mr. Sidhu, Mr. Bajwa and all others are doing, and a few people sitting in High Command, they are on a suicidal attempt as far as Congress perspective is concerned in Punjab.
So let me actually pick up on what you said, and you know, very interesting points that you made there. Let me pick it up and take it to Charan Singh SAPRA, because Mr. SAPRA, it looks like you are on a self-destructive path, simply because within the Gandhi family, there is no agreement on who it is that you need to back. Why can't we just simply resolve this issue, put a system in place and move on? It's just dragged on for so long and is impacting your party in Punjab.
Tanvi, we are trying to resolve this, and you should appreciate the way the entire process has been conducted, starting with the three-member panel, then they reporting to the High Command calling Sidhu, High Command calling Captain Amarinder Singh. It is a democratic process. You tell me, is it not happening in Uttar Pradesh? What is going on in Uttar Pradesh between Yogi Adityanath and his deputy, or Yogi Adityanath and Prime Minister Narendra Modi? What is happening in Uttarakhand? They have changed 3 chief ministers in say 4 months. Similar situation there in Gujarat. The chief minister versus C.R. Patil versus Nitin Patel. Similar situation in Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Yediyurappa versus Yesharappa, Madhya Pradesh, Shivraj Chauhan versus Narottam Mishra. So such situations are there in the larger parties. Maybe Aam Aadmi Party is a smaller party, or Akali Dal is a smaller party. There must not be such a situation. We are trying to resolve it, and probably in another 24 hours or 48
But
hours.
is it a good situation to be in? Your internal disagreements are fine. People with different views are fine. But you have one person here who, since the past 3 years or 4 years, has been constantly attacking your own chief minister. He continues to do that. On a day that the chief minister is meeting the party president, he's sitting there in Punjab and really tearing apart your own power policy.
I feel definitely this issue must be into the consideration of the High Command. I cannot talk on speculative points. I cannot speculate anything on your show, because the issue now rests with the High Command. It will be wrong for me to discuss this in detail, but definitely High Command would have taken notice of this, what you're talking.
Okay, yes. Mr. BAINS wanted to make a point, and then I go across to Mr. Grewal.
So Tanviji, more than this self-destruction, I think this is self-destruction will follow. It is more of a self-explosion right now. You know what is happening is that right from the voters of the Punjab and the legislators.
No, okay, let him finish his point. I want to see where this is going. Yes.
It is self-destruction has to follow, and it will follow in 22. Right now, it's self-explosion. How it is, I tell you, the legislators visits the High Command and this so-called committee and openly say that we are unable to go and face back the voters. Their cabinet ministers have said it. Their Navjot Singh Sidhu, whom they are, there are reports that he will be soon announced as PPC president or something else. And even there are reports that High Command has instructed Captain Amarinder Singh that you have to work on 18 points, which you promised and you haven't delivered. This is self-explosion. And rightly this will lead to a self-destruction right now. But Mr. SAPRA might be a small party, but we are committed to our people, and we will be, and you have failed your duty. Congress has failed the duty nationwide, and we will work day and night, and we will fulfill our promises to the people of India, not only in Punjab. So we are doing our duty, and we are working day and night, and whatever promise we make, we know we are committed. We did it in Delhi. Even when this was announced in Delhi, there were numerous debates like this, how it will be done, where the finance, and even in Delhi, it was yesterday it was a peak demand, but 24-hour supply in Delhi was there. 24-hour supply. In Punjab right now, in a city like Mohali, 12 hours long cut. Patiala, his own hometown, 8 hours long cut. And this is not only power. Right now, youth is not getting scholarship. There is no employment. Doctors are on the streets, and the contract laborers. Teachers in Punjab is getting 6,000 per month. 6,000 per month, and the same Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh went there and assured that as soon the government is fall, even my Mali is getting more salary than these teachers. And they are sitting on the streets of Mohali from last 2 months. Shame on such a government. And this government, this Chief Minister and their MLAs are visiting daily. Who the people of Punjab, these teachers, they are the nation builders, and this is self-explosion of Congress, and shame on such kind of politics, and they're infighting. The people who chose them to power, people gave our role as opposition, and we are committed to it.
Okay. Maheshendra Singh Grewal first, and then Charan Singh SAPRA can respond to both. Yes.
It's Tanvi, my turn, or Mr.
Yes, Mr. Grewal, to you.
Tanvi, I was simply thinking that how incompetent is the Congress High Command if they can't solve this problem of fight amongst two leaders in one state in 3 months, rather prolonging it for without any reason, shows the incompetence, indecisiveness, and dishonesty towards the state of Punjab. To me, it is very clear that it is a family divide of Gandhis, mother on one side, daughter and son on other side. They first ignited this dissent, and then they are indirectly supporting the dissent. But whose cost? It's the cost of Punjab, Punjabis. Put burning Punjab on this. See, today's situation is that Punjab had maximum deaths. I don't want to enter into argument with Mr. Aap, a spokesperson. He starts to praise Delhi. I don't want this issue to be diluted, but he should also remember it that Delhi had maximum deaths because of non-availability of oxygen. So we are here to discuss Punjab. Please don't bring Delhi pattern here. That is your agenda in elections.
Mr. After you talk about the power demand in Haryana, that's why I brought up Punjab, Mr. Garewal.
To you is gentlemen, don't put Punjab on burner. Punjab needs a serious thinking. Today they have issued a notification. They allowed some industries partially to work in Amritsar, but they stopped the same industry in Ludhiana. The diesel prices are so soar and high that the industry which uses diesel to run their factory, the power costs them about 28 rupees per unit. Tanvi, the situation now is that Punjab also faced because of such financial crisis, economic crisis, terrorism in the past. I think the Congress should be wiser enough that earlier also the fight between Gyani Zail Singh and Sardar Darbara Singh resulted into terrorism in Punjab.
Okay.
Now today this fight between the Chief Minister and their one legislature, I fail to understand the party which has got a 78 legislatures and Mr. Sidhu has a coterie of about 3 to 4 MLAs.
Yes.
They couldn't silence them and they want to run the state and the country. I think the country has rightly put them into parliamentary, not even a recognized opposition. The Congress, without wasting any time, they should sort it out Punjab, whether they want A or B here. They should decide it before Punjab burns and goes out of the hands of the government. Because today law and order situation is a precarious condition in Punjab. There is a gangster war, there are murders, killings during daylight, there are dacoities, there are robberies during daytime. Because there is no government functional in Punjab and they're not fighting for the nation, nor they're fighting for the right of the state, but they are fighting for self-preservation, which has put this to this situation in Punjab. I request and pray to God, give them a wisdom. They should not destroy Punjab in the remaining 6 months of their government.
Okay, yes, Mr. SAPRA, go ahead, please.
Can we please give me some uninterrupted time? I have so many questions to answer.
Yeah.
Number one, the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, I would like to appreciate his instinct and his confidence while he was talking. But politics doesn't go that way. You have to be on the field and you have to be grounded with the actual situation. The actual situation is that
exactly, Mr. SAPRA, exactly.
No, I never interrupted you. 3 MLAs from Aam Aadmi Party have already deserted and they have come to Congress. Another 3 to 4 are ready to shift towards Congress. So Aam Aadmi Party should put forward its own organization, how they have to go. Secondly, as rightly said by Mr. Garewal, Aam Aadmi Party could not provide oxygen, could not provide beds and remdesivir to the people of Delhi. How people have died in Vadra hospital, the whole nation has seen, or in some other hospital in Delhi. So the precarious situation during the COVID and the total failure of Aam Aadmi Party in COVID management, I don't think so that Punjab people like to risk themselves by bringing in Aam Aadmi. Now let me come towards the Shromani Akali Dal. The Shromani Akali Dal spokesperson was talking about the internal democracy. You know, he was quoting the word fighting. I would like to make it clear. The definition of internal democracy is to have deliberation and to come to a solution which will be acceptable to all.
With the party, not party to our government.
Don't interrupt. I never interrupted when you were talking. Secondly, the Akali Dal spokesperson, he was trying to scare Punjabis by saying burning Punjab, and he also touched the topic of terrorism. Let me remind him that terrorism was, flared up by the Akalis, and it was Congress government who fought against the terrorism, and it was Sardar Beant Singh, the Chief Minister of Punjab, who gave away his life. Hundreds of Congress cadres and Congress leaders, whether they are from Ludhiana or Amritsar, I can quote many names. Their children are still into Congress politics. They have lost their life to this terrorism. You can't blame Congress party with terrorism. Congress has fought against the terrorism. Congress has finished terrorism from Punjab, and Captain Amarinder Singh is quite vigilant. He knows what is going on at the border. He knows what moves Pakistan is coming to. He was the first person to warn the central government that drones are coming to Punjab. Don't forget this. So Captain Amarinder Singh and Congress party is quite vigilant about the state. We know that it is a border state, and if Chief Minister comes to Delhi once or twice, that doesn't mean that the government is coming. It is only the Chief Minister who has come to Delhi. The entire ministry is sitting in Punjab, and they are representing the government over there. So the people of Punjab. People of Punjab are quite with what is being going there, and how Congress party is trying to handle the situation over there. Currently, there is a situation of electricity which will get resolved in another 3 to 4 days. Captain Amarinder Singh and his government is looking after that situation.
But Mr. SAPRA, may I just say this? You can say it here on the panel, and everybody who's watching the show hears you out. But I think first you need to convince Mr. Navjot Singh Sidhu that everything is under control, that the issue is going to get resolved, and all of it will be done under the leadership of Captain Amarinder Singh. Because so far, whether it's, the compromise on split deputy CM post, or the compromise on a split state party chief, or a specific portfolio being given to him or not being given to him, he just doesn't seem to be falling in line at any point. Maybe because there are those within the Gandhi family who are backing him, and he continues straight on. But whether Congress implodes or self-destructs or gets on a weaker foot in the state elections is for us to see. It definitely can't be beneficial for you at this point of time, no matter what you say. Point taken, though. I am completely out of time on this conversation. We will continue to keep a close track. Captain Amarinder, after the meeting with Sonia Gandhi today, came out and said that they had discussions and exhaustive discussions, not just about the Punjab development, but also about the party issues, the internal party matters, the politics of it, and whatever it is that the party president decides, we are ready. We are ready to get going, and obviously to fight elections in whichever manner the party president decides. Can Sonia Gandhi now put an end to this fight, where one person from their own party is constantly standing up and challenging the main man who's carried these parties' fortunes for so long in the state of Punjab? And if they don't believe that he's up for this job anymore, that he's actually failed to deliver in the last 5 years, and having him as a front face and the key face is going to be detrimental to their plans, they need to act now. Otherwise, just the way the Congress party seems to have been losing in every other state, in many states that are literally non-existent, even in the assemblies, Punjab could be next. One of the few states that they still managed to hold on to, which is why these conversations are so important. Thank you so much for joining us.